Hello, my lovely audience, my dear friends. Welcome to the East-West Show, Jack Zhao with G&E TV. Today, joining me is a good friend of this community of Southern California, Mr. David Lopresti. And sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
All right, David is the Senior Business Development Executive of Goodwill. I believe you all heard about Goodwill. I take myself, for example, I landed in Pasadena when I first arrived. That was 34 years ago. Right next to my hotel is the Goodwill office. So that's how I got to know Goodwill in my early days, right? So. Well, lots of people know Goodwill, but not exactly into the structure, into the inside of Goodwill, such as a history, such as operation, such as a theme, which is most important, more importantly, these days versus the environment, versus what we see. So in addition to my welcome, I would like you to do a little introduction about yourself, please.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. It's good to be here.
All right. Good to see you.
So Goodwill, Southern California, has actually been here in Los Angeles for 101 years. Last year was actually our
101 years. Older than I am.
Older than all of us.
All right.
So that's right here in Southern California. So we've absolutely been a pillar of this community for over 100 years. We were started on Olvera Street and has grown significantly from there. The area that we service is Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. So 31,000 square
Goodwill of California, Southern
California.
Goodwill, Southern California.
That's correct. That's correct.
All right, good.
Goodwill's parent company, Goodwill International, which we're all under, which is broken up by territories, all shares the same mission. And the mission is transforming lives through the power of work.
Okay.
So everything we do as an organization is to further that mission. What we do at Goodwill is a lot of things that not everyone knows about. People obviously know of us from our retail and donation, which is a huge piece of what we do. Across our territory, we have over 80 retail and donation centers. I'm guessing when you first came here, that was probably what you saw.
Okay, that's what I saw.
Maybe you got some clothes over when you started.
I still do these days.
Yeah?
I still do these days.
We have a lot of good deals.
Very constant.
Absolutely.
Very constant basis. Go ahead.
So the retail and donation is a huge piece of what we do. We also provide job training to anyone that is in need. And we also offer business services.
I see.
So we do document scanning, secure shredding, janitorial services, custodial, landscaping, assembly and fulfillment, which is a lot of packing.
I see.
And printing. So we're always looking to expand those. And the way everything we do, it all is bundled together for our mission. So the mission of transforming lives through the power of work, everything we do.
Transforming life to the power of work.
Through work, exactly. We feel anyone who wants a job is entitled to the opportunity to pursue one. We do have 4 sections, key demographics that are our priority. Although, again, anyone who wants is someone we're going to try to assist. But the 4 key areas we're looking to help are who we feel are most in need, which are at-risk youth, the ex-offender community who is trying to re-enter society, individuals with disabilities,
I see.
and veterans.
I see.
So the way we're structured is everything.
You're doing more than donation disbursement or something like that.
Absolutely.
You're more than that.
Absolutely. So through our business services, we try to give jobs and job training to anyone that wants these opportunities. They're all social enterprise. So beyond trying to provide services to our business community, we're simultaneously trying to get people the jobs and job training that they can then transition into full-time employment. And as an organization, the way it's bundled is an average of 94% of our annual budget, whether that's coming through retail, donation, our business services, it all goes back into our programs. So we're striving always to expand the scope of who we can help fulfill our mission.
Very good. You know, David, I kind of like always prefer to go into the culture
Sure.
of it. By culture, I mean concept.
Sure.
Yeah. I myself like the term goodwill.
Yeah.
Right. It refers to a large range of positivity.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you at the job, as a business development executive, interpret the word of goodwill, please?
Oh, it's a good question. What's interesting in traditional business development, you know, you're striving to expand opportunities, drive sales. I'm fortunate enough at Goodwill is because of the social enterprise component, I'm straddling that line of driving sales, creating new opportunities, while simultaneously trying to figure out how we can give more people job opportunities and expand the reach of what we offer to the business community at large. So for example, if we gain a new contract with the city of Los Angeles, for example, we're going to be now retaining work for them for the next 5 years. That then is a win, but it's also a win because the stability of that existing contract gives us the opportunity to give more jobs and job training to veterans, to at-risk youth, to ex-offenders, to individuals with disability, to work in that. So I'm always straddling that line between the two. It's a fun challenge, and one of the other great benefits of it is you see the outcomes on a very emotional, visceral level.
The other day when we met,
Yes.
I did mention something about how come I'm so interested in the subject, talking about goodwill. It is exactly because when I look around, I see a society, I see us ourselves as a society. We're never short of promoting wealth.
No.
We're never short on that. We're never short of promoting competition, sometimes even bloody, right? And here and there you see people kind of like talking about or toasting up what we call the chicken soup all times, right? And it is quite seldom we see people talking about the goodwill.
Yeah.
That's why I named the show The Goodwill. I believe there's lots of significance in the word the goodwill, right?
Absolutely.
And by listening to your introduction about history, structure, and the mission of Goodwills, I seem to feel that it is quite important to let our people, especially our young folks, know the essence of Goodwill.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
All right. And you especially mentioned the part about providing job training opportunities.
Sure.
Job trainings. To what extent do you do that, and how do you do that, please?
Well, Goodwill as an organization is only as good as the people that make it up, and that's our employees, but also our participants.
Yeah.
Why don't I start with an example? We had a young man. He had been delivering beverages for 4 years. He blew out his knee. He had gone straight from high school into this industry, had worked there for many years. All of a sudden, he found himself out of a job. He has 4 kids. He had a 9-month layoff where he had to go through physical therapy after his surgeries.
Catastrophic.
Huge.
All of a sudden,
His entire life, as he knew it, gone. He could not go back to that same industry because of the physical limitations.
Debilitated, yeah.
So he actually came in through one of our job training programs. He was at the time a little frustrated because it felt like a step back for him. He'd already driving forward. This was an entry-level program helping with resumes, helping give standard job training, interviewing. But he did it. He saw the value. He did that program. And at the end of that program, Goodwill asked him, "Are you interested in document scanning?" which is one of our business services. The young man at the time said, "I don't know. I don't even know what that is."
Yeah, so I don't know even what that is either.
Document scanning is taking paper files, scanning them, digitizing them into PDFs.
Digitizing them. All right. Okay.
Exactly. So
because the transform from traditional time to
Correct.
digital time.
To digital time, saving the storage, everything is
I see.
more accessible. So that's one of our big business services, for example. So he took the opportunity and said, sure. So he came into our document scanning business service. So, and this is where the social enterprise steps in. He had never done it before, but because we have full-time employees, we're able to be competitive with the for-profit sector. He came in, he did a 9-month training, he flourished. He had never scanned a document before. He liked it, he enjoyed it, it fit well with what his needs were. At the end of his time, we actually were able to then offer him a full-time position within the program. So he went from unemployed with very limited options to a career.
You rescued him.
Well, he
in the family.
Within the family dynamic of what we strive to do with his hard work, absolutely. He now has benefits, medicals for his children, all 4 of them. And on top of it, he's strived so much that he actually anchors one of our key contracts with the city of Los Angeles. That is literally one of thousands of stories that I can speak to.
All right, let's do that. I like stories.
Yeah.
My dear audience, today I have this very special opportunity to sit with my friend, David Lopresti. He is the business development executive of Goodwill of Southern California, and talking about Goodwill. And I always adore Goodwill because I know this whole society is lack of nothing but goodwills. Right? So I'm not joking. I'm serious. You have 1,000 stories. I have maybe 2,000 stories to indicate why we lack of the goodwill. Right? So let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue finding the culture in Goodwill. Stay with us, please.
Thank you.
Very good. Good start.
Is that okay?
Hello, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends. Welcome to the show. At this East-West show, we try very hard. By we, I mean me and my crew, the whole crew, trying so hard whenever there is, whenever the federal is not busy fighting, right? Not busy strangling each other, at least pointing fingers at each other, we sneak in. We sneak in for the community to bring some necessary information for you, either as education or to enrich your knowledge about our society, about the surrounding of yourself, right? In Southern California, we see Goodwill almost everywhere. On the corner of the street, you have the drop box. Right? Oh, by the way, the drop boxes are quite modernized. It has in the old time, it's kind of like hardly protected from rain. Now you're talking about the bar, you put it up, put it in, boom, it rolls down.
Yeah.
Right, very good. And today I have the opportunity of sitting together with one of Goodwill. That's Mr. David Lopresti. He is the executive director of business development of Southern California Goodwill. So once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is quite a discussion to bring knowledge to you. You see the sign of Goodwill, right, everywhere, but you never know they do a lot more than donation and the donation disbursement.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay, good. And you mentioned somewhere about something about donation sales. When you use the word sales, are you talking about the Goodwill stores?
Well, we have sales obviously in our stores where we sell items, but we also strive to have contracts. for our various business services that are giving needs to the business community at
Oh,
large.
I see. All right, okay. Like say for the document scanning contract,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You go around knocking on doors, say, folks, you need document scanning service, something like that.
Yeah, consider us.
Consider us.
Opposed to a for-profit, you get an opportunity to get comparable, high-level quality, competitive pricing, but built in as a social enterprise, which means as a business paradigm, we're simultaneously helping people. You give that extra ability at no extra cost to the business to help people that need it most.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, to lots of folks, for example, me, myself, I throw a bunch of shirts almost every season.
Sure.
At the end of the season, when you want to do change, right?
Yes.
When you do the change, you pack it up and throw it in. From that point on, where does my shirt go?
We have an extensive process to go from your donation.
Interesting question, right?
It is.
Very babyish, but very interesting.
It's a
lots of folks might
yes.
want to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So once we get a donation, it comes into our processing area where we sort it, and it is then bound for various stores. Again, we have over 80 stores across our territory, so it goes off to the stores. Any item at a store is only on those racks for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we take it off. One of the other major commitments of Goodwill is to be as environmentally conscious and friendly as possible to stay as green.
Yeah,
so it is a literal 15-step process to keep anything out of the landfill, even after it is donated.
All
so
right.
once it's off of the shelves, it goes back and then is resorted and goes to our wholesale wholesale retail locations.
I see.
At a discounted price. People then come in and look at it there. It has an opportunity to then be purchased again. If that at that time is not taken, it comes back to us, and what we do is repackage it with other items that have gone through the same step process into bundles, and then auction those bundles to other people.
Oh, I see.
So there is a whole auction process at a lower level. So again, we're going all the steps, giving one item the opportunity to be finding a home, so it's kept out of landfills. So the auction process, now we're dealing with people that are maybe looking to purchase and resell themselves at a swap meet, that sort of thing.
I see.
If they're not purchased at that point, they come back to us. And then depending on the nature of that item, we can find another use. So say, for example, it's a t-shirt. We have a machine that literally bales 1,000-pound bales of t-shirts in the same way you would bale hay. So those t-shirts that aren't needed are then baled into 1,000-pound.
Okay, in the big tight bundles.
Correct. And those are purchased by other companies that either would want to sell them in third world nations or for charitable purposes, give people clothing, or sometimes are broken down into rags, because usually they're compiled by color.
Okay.
At that point, we get really creative in finding new ways. For example, as you can imagine, we get a lot of donations of one shoe. There's only
you're right.
only so many people we can sell one shoe to.
Yeah, you're right.
But we found a way of breaking the shoe apart and grinding up the sole and repurposing it for asphalt companies, which actually go into our roads.
Oh, asphalt on the roads.
Exactly.
Right, all right, good.
So there is many ways at the end of the day that we strive to keep anything out of a landfill.
In other words, you get an item from donor.
Yes.
You take the most extent of the value of it, and you do it not one time, several times, till it reaches to the very end, into even rags, and you can still consume it, like I say, turn it into asphalt, like shoes.
That's correct.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about the tail part. I'm talking about the front part. The tail part I never thought of, especially the turning over, like say the asphalt part, and even the bundle part. In this whole world, you might say, hey, that's an old pair of shoes, right? And to lots of people, people in the world, they won't even get that kind of shoes on their birthday.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that part? I mean, the channel, how do you connect yourself to that channel? For example, say Haiti, right? El Salvador,
Yes.
or Argentina, somewhere in
Sure.
the island.
Sure.
Yeah. How do you connect yourself over there?
Well, I think as a nonprofit, which is committed to helping the world as an organization, we are very collaborative in nature to other nonprofits. So the analogy I like to always give for other nonprofits is, here's my tray of food. I got some chicken, some cheese. What do you have? Maybe we can make a picnic. So in the same way that we're looking to do what we do, we're always looking to support other businesses.
Collaboration.
Exactly. So for example, there is a wonderful program that supports ex-offenders into re-entering society. We will then donate clothes to them that would give ex-offenders a nice wardrobe to present themselves for a job interview.
All right.
So
that makes sense.
Whatever the needs are, if someone is interested in pursuing that and it meshes with our mission of transforming lives through the power of work and is trying to help the world, we're very collaborative in how we can support them as well.
In other words, you reach out to other nonprofit organizations, see what you have, what I have.
Yes.
And then by synchronizing the resources, in other words, synchronizing resources, and you find what together you can do for the society.
Absolutely.
All right. You mentioned about the ex-offenders. When you say ex-offenders, I first thought they would say sex offenders. Is
No.
that ex-offender, including sex offenders? Am I right?
Well, anyone that is in
Offender.
yes. Yeah.
Ex-offenders. Okay.
But anyone that is re-entering society from incarceration is
in other words, they paid for their time.
That's correct.
Right. They served their time. They're really released to a brand new society, looking around, totally benighted. So you offering them opportunity to re-enter the society by
correct.
providing a goodwill service.
That's correct. And
I see.
for each, and I mentioned the 4 key areas that we focus on: re-entry, individuals with disabilities, at-risk youth, and veterans. We then have specific programs tailored to each of those needs.
All right.
So, for example, our janitorial and custodial services, which we do everything from LAX Air Force and Vandenberg Air Force Base to mom and pop storefronts sweeping the streets.
Wow.
That is a business service as a social enterprise that is perfectly suited for an ex-offender re-entering society. And someone with a criminal record is not a good fit for document scanning because of life.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So
yes,
then that is a perfect fit
and
for
there's still a job for them.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
And very nice to know those details. My dear audience, today I feel like I'm getting one more class about our society. Goodwill, even though I first came across the goodwill, the sign of goodwill when I first came. I landed in Pasadena and I saw it right next to my hotel room. And that's how I got to know. Now I know this much about goodwill thanks to my good friend David Lopresti. He is the executive officer of business development of Goodwill Southern California. Let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, I noticed just now you mentioned about the at-risk folks.
Yes.
Right. So that is a good part. That's a good part to talk about.
Yeah.
And very unfortunately, this society pays less attention, very little attention to them. Let's see what you do. Stay with us, please.
Thank you.
Hello, my lovely audience, my dear folks. Welcome back to the show, Check Chow on East West with G&E TV. Today we're touching very, very good subject, the subject that people seldom think of. Even though they are around us, so many locations, of 80 locations in Southern California, we seldom think or seldom ask what they do. and what they do, and as a big chunk to help the society, especially the less fortunate folks, right? And speaking of the less fortunate folks, oh, by the way, my friend David Lopresti, I want to introduce him one more time. He is the Executive Officer of Business Development of Goodwill, Southern California. And he's helping us with the understanding of Goodwill. He just now mentioned about helping the at-risk folks, right? At-risk folks. How do you, as Goodwill, stretch yourself to cover that kind of rarely noticed area?
It's a good question, and I'm glad you asked it because it gives me a chance to speak on a third crucial piece of what we do at Goodwill, which is an entire department called Workforce and Career Development. That entire department is focused on job creation and job training for everybody. So we have workforce centers all over our territory, including one in El Monte and Pomona, locally here. They're open to the public. Anyone can come in at any time. They can schedule a free meeting to have assistance on crafting their resume. They have access to finding out about the programs we have, the job listings that we have at our retail locations, as well as other job opportunities. So workforce and career development, the good team over there, all they do all day is look for ways to create jobs for at-risk youth, ex-offenders, individuals with disabilities, veterans, homeless, across the board. So it becomes a creative way of looking what the as you know in business, there's always an ever-evolving need of workforce. Being creative and nimble to meet the ongoing needs, whether that's in aerospace, whether that's public sector, whether that is in legal. We're always looking to create job opportunities and training to give people these opportunities.
And when you talk about the at-risk youth, though, are you including? Do you include the kids who are at the door of the drugs, or drug kind of victimized?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you do that, please?
By presenting new opportunities. Goodwill feels strongly that if people had more direct paths in front of them, they would want to choose something more constructive. So unfortunately, we're dealing with a lot of people that don't have a lot of opportunities in front of them, that feel boxed in on going a negative route down a dark path. So a lot of ways we try to do is outreach, training to show other programs. We work with a lot of colleges on mentoring and apprentice programs. So someone who feels like the only job opportunity might be, a very low level without any career advancement, all of a sudden is apprenticing at a manufacturing facility with a clear road towards growing into management in a career.
I'm quite convinced by learning that part that you take care of quite a bit of the leftover the society. When I say leftover, I'm not degrading anybody. No. I'm just saying that as a society, you have things in the front, you have things behind you. Sure. I'll give you an example. There is a joke talking about a bear collecting corns in a cornfield. What he does, take one corn here, and next one here, and next one here. And it goes along, all right? That's how he collects the corns. Sure. And there has to be people, whoever, picking them up. Yeah. Right. So, well, it looks to me, our society, for example, our jail system, acts almost like the bear, like the corn collecting bear. Take it up, put it here, and the next one, put it here. So, that's it. Yeah. And who helps them with the downstairs guys, downstairs folks, right? Absolutely. So, you're the one. All right. Any stories of this in this category about this at-risk or less fortunate or ex-offender cases?
Yeah, one of the heads of
We don't have to mention any name, but you know.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yesterday at a show, at a discussion, we're talking about the AB 109, the early release part. For those folks who have not put up with their service, I mean, who have not served their time, the early release, there are different stories.
Yeah.
We're talking, you and I were talking about those folks who have served their time.
Absolutely.
Things are even now.
Yep.
Right? So I paid what my crime cost for.
Yes.
So I'm even. And when I'm back to the society, I look around, nothing for me.
No.
That kind of folks I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's right. That's my clarification. So how do you, give me some story, please.
We have a gentleman who has been with us for quite some time. He now runs a huge portion of our janitorial program across our entire territory.
Oh.
He came in after serving his time for drug use and had a very challenging life, had a lot of hurdles that he had to overcome.
Oh, yeah.
Started through one of our, again, entry-level programs, getting preliminary job training, and has now excelled and blossomed into running the janitorial program. So you're talking about the stability you need, the sense of worth, the sense of well-being, the sense of stability. These are all of the key areas that, unfortunately, our system doesn't support. You know, in theory, it might make sense. You serve your time, you get out, you start over, you do it again. But as we know, it's not that simple. So
There's only by logic. There's only by logic, yeah.
Flawed logic at best.
Yeah, lots of logic, yeah.
So what we try to do is supplement the logic with real
the missing part.
boots on the ground, active support.
Yes,
to
you're right.
transition.
You're right. Yeah. And you mentioned about the job training. The job training
Yes.
or re-entrance job training.
Sure.
And I don't think that you need actually train them to how to clean a toilet and how to prepare put a toilet roll on.
Sure.
And yet, on the other hand, you mentioned about a 1 month something of a training period. And I believe you use quite of the time, a big portion, a greater portion of the time, educate them, right?
That's correct.
How
And
do you do that part?
well, it can speak to the specifics of the program. We can do, like I mentioned, the document scanning young man. He entered through a entry-level job training program, which is helping with resume, interviewing skills, base level skills, soft skills as well, interpersonal, you know, how to present yourself.
Okay, interpersonal, yes.
Exactly. But when we get into our business services, it is specific job training for specific industries that we intend to lead to transitional full-time employment after finishing. Like, we have over 500 participants who are in our programs at any time getting jobs training. Our intent is that they all eventually move over and find full-time employment that is using their job training as a means to an end to reach that goal.
I
So
see.
whether that's in aerospace, handling defense contracts, across the board at every industry in our territory, that is honing it to a fine specific skill set, which can then lead to full-time employment.
All right, very good. Okay. And you mentioned the fourth major area. Let me know something about that, please.
Which
The fourth, you're saying the ex-offender, the at-risk use, and also there's another one.
individuals with disabilities and
Yeah,
veterans, and veterans are the two.
Veterans, yeah, veterans, yes.
We do a lot with veterans. It's an area that, as we know, with unfortunately a lot of war.
Oh yeah, you name it. Yeah.
We similarly to what we talked about, the prison system. Maybe in theory, sounds like it is functional, but needs a lot of support.
I doubt.
In the same way with veterans, the returning home, re-entering society is an area that needs a lot of support. So we have a lot of job training programs that are geared to facilitating that and ideally work toward full-time employment.
That is a very, I would say, human part. I myself, a few years ago, was in downtown doing an interview. That was a day when back then Mayor Viragosa was giving a big event in a church, in the Lady of the whatever church, downtown Los Angeles, and he was even doing the food wash, right? So according to the Bible, okay, now, and I was out. I was not in the inside the building, the church. I was out on the street talking to the homeless. To my surprise, man, it caused me to tears. About 1/3 of them were veterans. There are Iraq veterans. There are even Vietnam veterans. There are a few even Korean War veterans, and they're homeless. They're homeless. So as a society, it's a shame. It's an eyesore. It's a slam on the face, right? We wouldn't supposed to see that. Wouldn't let that happen, because those are the guys who put their time and their life for this nation. Whatever they did wrong, okay, please let them slide. Give them at least a decent life. So put them on there, stand on their own feet. And doing that part, though, you really get my support. You really get my support. So what actually you do with them for them to stand up again?
Through WCD, it's a lot of job training, trying to utilize the skill set that they might have acquired during their service, and helping them translate that into the workforce. We also partner with Mayor Garcetti on a huge veteran homeless initiative called a Stand Down, where we actually close down our corporate parking lots in downtown LA and invite homeless veterans. It's essentially a fair of opportunity, everything from showers to job training to clothes, trying to stabilize.
Remember how stupid they were, or how stupid we had been a few years ago during Viragosa time. We used to put them truckloads of them or busloads of them into a brand new town and open the door and say, get out. When those guys open, oh my God, that's a brand new town. They have to walk all the way back to where they were. Is it like the bear thing, right?
It is.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now do something. And you do that. All right, I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Give me an example, please. Give me a story, please.
We had a veteran came back, was pretty confronted with opportunities. They came in through some of our business service programs, got some job training, and they have now transitioned out into full-time employment within the financial sector. So again, using the job skills that these are fully capable people that are just struggling to have.
Of course.
It's just giving them the bit of support they need.
Yeah. At least they had been brave to stand like a man for the fight for his country.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay,
Absolutely.
very good. I like that. Thank you. Keep it up, please. My dear audience, I'm quite convinced. I'm touched with my friend David Lopresti. We're sharing his thoughts, beautiful thought of the goodwill culture, goodwill activity, and goodwill mission, and all the 4 categories that helping the society, especially to help the less fortunate folks, or at risk or at question folks. They're human. They're brothers and sisters, right? So, all right, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we will continue. Please. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Californians, welcome back to the show. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, all across the country, depending where you are. So this is the Jack Chow Show, East to West, with a lots of love to the society. I know I have nothing to offer but a big heart. That's it, right? So. And I thought I was the only one that has a big heart. And as a matter of fact, there are lots of people doing that. And my friend, David Lopresti, the executive officer of business development of Goodwill, Southern California, is a big heart too. He has a big heart too. Talking about Goodwill, I'm quite convinced about the history, 101 years in Southern California. Right, okay. It's nationwide, right?
Goodwill nationwide is actually a lot older, but here in Southern California, we've been here for 101 years.
101 years, that's a lot of years. I was joking, that's older than I am. As a matter of fact, older than you and me to put together.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. And for a business to survive, a non-profit business to survive for that many years, it really has something in it. You really have to have something. And I learned a lot by hearing stories from David, talking about providing services, except the document scanning, janitorial cleaning, and the job training stuff. What else do you do? I heard about you supporting Kayla, right?
That's right.
And Kayla with the ADA laws, and then you do the sign painting stuff.
That's correct.
Let me know something about it, please. Interesting.
We call the program our Signs and Stripes program.
Signs and Stripes program.
Signs and Stripes, and it's referring to the signs in the parking lots and the stripes on the ground for ADA disabled parking.
Okay.
This actually is a good way to explain how we straddle the line between the needs of the business community and the needs of our participants for social enterprise job training. So, as you probably know, businesses across our nation are being sued for not having the proper ADA,
of course,
universal and accessible parking. It has unfortunately become a bit of a loophole where there are a lot of predatory lawsuits being filed. The intent of the law is completely justified and in need. Anyone, regardless of disability, should be enabled to enter any business. But there have been a lot of lawsuits that are unfortunately targeting the smaller scale businesses.
Yeah.
So what we're offering is to actually come out, support the small businesses, assess their parking needs, and fix some of them that could prevent the lawsuits from occurring.
And I know that I learned from my friend Marianne Maloney that people are even get sued because of the sign is not blue enough.
That's correct. Any infraction is a minimum $4,000 fine. That is beyond the cost of the lawyers. So if your sign is not blue enough, that is $4,000. If the lines on the ground are faded or aren't in the right position.
And next day there comes another lawyer say your sign is not blue enough, and then there's another $4,000.
That's correct.
Right? And it goes on and on and on until the business go broke.
That's correct.
That's it, right? Okay. Now you're helping them to get a sign blue.
That's right.
Get a stripe blue.
Sometimes for hundreds of dollars, a business can save a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 lawsuit.
Yeah. And the private sector, they charge you a lot more money for even a strip line.
That's right.
I checked last time with, because we have an additional parking lot next to this building, because we have a big expansion, right? We need more and more parking. Oh, you just, well, just now when you came in, you had a parking problem, right?
That's correct.
So we do have a parking problem. And for me to get somebody, a contractor, to do the line, I did a price comparison, and I know exactly how much they cost, right? And not a few $100 job. No.
No, it's a lot higher.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. And also, those are for the blue signs or whatsoever. They kind of sound like software jobs. Do you do any hardware jobs with the ADA law wise?
What do you mean by?
Like say they need a doorknob.
We specialize with the parking lots because we've managed internally our 80 plus retail locations. We've been having to deal with this internally for some time. It was a natural progression, and it gave a new avenue for jobs training for individuals with disabilities. The insides, we can recommend people. I have a
referral.
Exactly.
Right?
There's a very strong network of other small businesses we work with who specialize in this, who are all as dedicated to preventing the unnecessary lawsuits as we are.
You just now mentioned about collaboration.
Yes.
There might be another nonprofit organization specializing in doorknobs.
That's yes. Exactly.
Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might refer to them or refer them to them to get the door fixed,
Yep.
so that the folks will not have to face a suit or lawsuit, something like that. Like Mr. Tom Manzo the other day talked about, guy who's facing $2.5 million lawsuit, right? And Zach Havoff, his too,
Yep.
right? So, and together we're talking about in California, Southern California, Goodwill is helping a lot, right? And how come? My question, maybe a stupid question. Sometimes people say more than they do. That's why you hear them before you see them, right? You hear and you see advertising and slogans everywhere like that. With Goodwill, seldom we do that. So how do you handle your promotion? It sounds that you're doing quite at large, but how do you promote yourself?
That's a good way of putting it, because I would say, while most say more than they do, we have been so focused on supporting the communities of our city and of our region that need it the most. Mm-hmm. We're doing more than we say. So one of the areas, and that's why I'm so happy to be here, is sometimes it feels like we're singing from the mountaintops, hey, we're here to help, we can do this, we can support you. So as an organization, we are looking at expanding the scale of visibility, because the reality is, I would say I spend about 70% of my days explaining all that we do. And you know, when your dog goes to eat at the bowl and they don't have the food and they get confused and they kind of look at you like, what's going on, I'm confused? I get a lot of that confused reaction because people know us for our stores, but not the mission of transforming lives through the power of work and everything.
The reason I'm asking, David, excuse me for that, forgive me for saying that, is that, I'll give you an example. 8 o'clock in the morning, you're on the way to work, right? You find all of a sudden the road is blocked. Why? You see the cones everywhere circling around, and there's a detour going there. And then when you pass by, see 3 workers just to do a pothole. A pothole is about this big, right? Doing pothole. And then they choose to do it at 8 in the morning. That's advertising. Yeah. We're busy at work. We're not sleeping, right? We're busy at work. Could they do it at 12 midnight? Huh? Could they do that?
Sure.
Or 8 at night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or 4 in the morning? How about that? Yeah. So that's why I'm asking as a comparison.
Yeah.
As a referral.
Yes.
I'll call it a referral. Let's be friendly. Call it a referral, right? So that's why I say you see before, you hear before you see, because they have a bigger mouth than anything else, right? So keep that in mind. I really want, as media man, I really want to see more than hear, right? And I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity. And my dear audience, we'll do more of the goodwill, because it is the goodwill we talk about. Our society, we have everything, but goodwill, we need more of them. So, David, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good.